with no further ado, I'd like to welcome Chandra up to the stage with Friendish.
Hi everyone, good morning. Before we start, I also want to give a big thank you to Rollins College for having us here, and 1 Million Cups Orlando for allowing us to present. We're really excited. And then I'd also like to thank all of you for being here, taking time out of your very busy schedule to support new businesses and technology in Orlando, so thank you. So I'm Chandra, and I'm the founder and CEO of Friendish. Friendish is an app that helps people make friends based on shared interests. So what are we here to talk about today? Well, I'm sure you could guess friendships and relationships. So when I first moved back from Berlin, Germany, I'm originally from Daytona Beach, Florida, but I lived in Germany for 4 years. So when I first moved back from Berlin, I wanted to make friends. Most of my friends who had stayed in this area had gotten married or had children, or some of them were much further ahead in their careers than I was. So while we had some similar childhood experiences, we really just didn't have that much in common anymore. So I did what I think most people my age do, is I started using dating apps. So by a show of hands, how many people here have ever used a dating app, or at least have heard of them, right? Match, okay, everybody knows, great. Go ahead. So this is pretty much a chart of my experience. For those of you who have used apps like Tinder, right, you're swiping on people's faces. And so it's love at first swipe, right? You come across this gorgeous guy or girl and you're chatting with them in the app, and then suddenly you never hear from them again. And then you wonder, like, am I ugly? Did I add the wrong bio? Like, am I lame? Like, what did I do? And so then you really start to question if this is really even gonna work for you. So you finally rage against the dating app machine, and then you probably delete the whole thing. But because your needs have not been met, you usually end up re-downloading it or some version of the app again, because you still really want to connect with people. So then I wondered if I was the only person that was experiencing this. So I started to ask questions, and I took a poll. So of the 364 guys that I matched with, nearly 70% of them said that they were looking for some sort of friendship first before they engaged in any sort of romantic relationship. And that's just like a sensible thing to like assume and to say. Oh, go ahead. No, that's okay. So this is my poll that I took. So then I wondered, if there was other people that were, experiencing the same thing. So like a good scientist, I went online to see if there was any other information that, supported my findings. And sure enough, there was. And so we really found, my co-founder and I, that a lot of people are actually using dating apps to make friends and not actually to go on dates. And so this was really exciting for us because that meant that there was a big hole in the market and that we had a potential to really solve a problem. And so we really wondered how we could go from this experience, right, swiping in bed alone at night or at a bar or at a party, to this experience, which is being engaged and being happy and connectedness and having real friends and a lot of fun. And so we think that we have found the answer. This is a little demo video we did. No sound.
We have no sound?
Yeah. We can do there, because this is like really essential, this video, and it took us a lot of time to make, so I really wanted to see it.
Did you provide sound too?
Oh, I probably could narrate. It's my voice on there doing the voiceover. I hope I can remember the script. I don't know if it's because So I also get an extra 2 minutes to present because of the technical difficulties.
It's extended.
Okay. Maybe try playing it in the presentation. Yeah. Because there was a play button there.
It looks like an apple on her head.
Yeah, that's cute. Earl.
Yeah. Like Williams.
Okay. That sounds weird.
Yeah, that sounds
should be.
I think it was working. The video's maybe refresh it? Meet Cara. She's 26 and just moved from Savannah to New York City for a new job. Cara works really hard, Monday through Friday from 8 to 6 to be exact. When Cara comes home, she's exhausted, but also lonely. She knows New York City is full of the coolest people, but it's hard to make friends you'd actually like. People who've seen can sometimes be. Twitter is her favorite, so she logs in and sees a retweet from one of her friends about Friendish, a cool new app to make friends. She downloads and starts swiping on all sorts of cool interests, some even local to New York City. Suddenly, she has 10 friends waiting who have the same likes. She adds 3 and starts chatting with Allie right away. Allie invites her to Everyday People, the Brooklyn brunch event of the summer. They go, have a great time, and when she gets home that afternoon, she logs back in and sees Andre asked if she wants to see a movie. Friendish is cool. Friendish is fun. Friendish is for everyone. Friendish is for Cara, Andre, Allie, me, and you. Stop using dating apps for friends and make Friendish instead. Swipe on interests, make friends, get Friendish. So yeah, that's our demo. We put that together for a few applications that we did. But I think more than the video, most of us can really relate to Cara's experience, right? We've all been the new kid on the block. We know what it feels like to want to make friends, but to not really know how to connect with people. So the first question most people are going to ask is really, how is Friendish different from what's already out there? And the first main difference is that we ask our users to swipe on interests and not faces. We really want them to use our app and have a really fun time and swipe on things that are important to them, things that they have that they really like. And so we connect users with other users who have 50% or more interests in common. Well, okay, that's okay. The next thing that makes us really excited is later this year we're going to roll out a feature to allow users to add their own interests. This gives us a really high potential for user-generated content, and it also means that we follow in the footsteps of some of the world's most popular apps like Instagram and Snapchat. We know that users really enjoy to create the content that they're sharing and engaging within an app, so that's really exciting for us. And then lastly, because we know a lot about our users' likes and their dislikes and their preferences, once we start to allow ads to roll through our deck of interests, we can feel confident that users are going to have targeted ads of things that they already like. As an example, if we had a user that said yes to Orlando, yes to soccer, and yes to Manchester United, then we can feel confident that if we show them an ad for Orlando City or for Orlando Pride, that they may take action on that. And so that gives us a really high revenue potential. So for those of you who have not downloaded the app, this is what it looks like. So that's your deck of interests that you would swipe on. You swipe up if you like that, you swipe down if you don't. Once you have friends waiting that have 50% or more interests in common, you'll get a notification. And at that point, you can get Friendish with them, and you can meet them and chat in the app, or you can keep playing and swiping on other interests. So for us, millennials are really the most, millennials are really the most interesting demographic. These are the people that are like Cara, right? They're moving around, they're moving to a big city for a new job, they're taking a semester abroad, right? Or they're going overseas. And so these are the people who are digital natives and early adopters of new technology. And so they're really the most interesting group for us. That's okay. While we're really focused on millennials, we certainly are not exclusive to them, and we want people of all ages and demographics to really feel comfortable using our app. So I added this slide because I want you guys to know that we have some very strong competition in the millennial dating app space. We don't really have the time to go over each competitor one by one, but if you're interested to know in some of the numbers and some of the ways we plan to compete, I'd love to talk to you after this. But I did want to include this slide because there are some very strong competitors in the space that we're going to have to edge out to really get a market share. So how do we plan to get the world to be more friendish? Well, for us, influencer marketing will be huge. For millennials, they really respond well to influencer marketing, people that they follow on social media or blogs or on Instagram. And so we'd like to target one key influencer in each segment. For us, the segment might be like first-time moms, right? These are a group of people that have a very specific set of interests. And so we'd like to highlight one key influencer in that segment to really become an evangelist for Friendish and really spread our message and help us get lots of users. Additionally, strategic partnerships are going to be really big for us. The travel industry is a natural value-added industry. People who like traveling generally like having new experiences. They like meeting new people. So for us, we'd love to partner with some really amazing companies like Airbnb to offer more value to their users, to be able to find great places to stay while they travel, as well as friends. And then lastly, we have a new approach to friending. So we're one of the first apps to try to connect people based over multiple interests as opposed to just one. And we're also only mobile. So the team is me. So you guys have heard me go on and on and on. But also my CTO and co-founder, he couldn't be here today because, like many of you in the startup world, we have regular 9-to-5s. So he couldn't get the day off, but he's a really great developer and the reason that you guys can all download Friendish today and try it out. So he's really great. So that's really all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you'll swipe on interest, make friends, and get Friendish. Thank you so much.
So we're opening up for questions right now. Any questions? Okay. Want to come up here? Oh, I learned this last week. I was at 1 Million Cups Daytona. If you'll state your name before you start speaking, that's helpful.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gentry. The question I have for you, is it like Tinder where they geotag you? For instance, say if you're in Chicago, you put a broad city of Chicago, you can meet a person that may be an hour and a half away. Is it by geotag or is it by overall city?
It's based on your location. So if you're in Orlando, you can find friends in Orlando. If you're in Chicago, you can find friends in Chicago. We have talked about adding a feature to allow geotagging. Like, let's say you live in Orlando, but you spend a lot of time in LA and you really want to find friends there. Adding some sort of feature like that where users could pay, $2 or $3 or something if they want to activate that other feature. But for now, we really want people to find friends in their location, so it actually pulls the location from your GPS on your phone.
And make sure you hold the mic up next to your mouth so it can really be picked up by the live streaming. Okay. Next question.
Name's Bill.
Hi.
What did you find the most common of interest?
I'm sorry?
Of what people were interested in connecting with others? What did you find the most common? Was it food, entertainment, location?
We actually haven't put together that data. Right now, the system tells us how many interests users have swiped on, and obviously how many users that we have. But in terms of most people really loved, pasta. That was an interest everybody loved. We haven't collected that data, but it's something we should definitely look into.
Thanks.
Hey, my name's Alex. What is your advice to find a technical co-founder? Because I'm creating an app as well, and that's kind of like my biggest setback at the moment. So.
Well, I'll be really honest in saying that it's hard. It's a delicate conversation to ask someone to work for free on a hope and a prayer that you're going to be the next big thing, right? But I think you have to really find someone who wants to be work in a startup and who wants to be a technical co-founder. There's a lot of people who are developers who just want to be developers and then they want to go home and do whatever else they are interested in. And before I found Adam, I had a few different technical co-founders that ended up not working out and not being the right fit, but that's a part of it.
I'm on I'm hoping third time's a charm.
Yeah, I mean, Adam I actually found on Indeed, but I think you also have to move fast if somebody responds to you, respond right back to them and try to get them on the phone and have a conversation, because that's, I think that really just helped me a lot. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, my name is Kristen Pruitt.
Hi.
If someone in this room could satisfy your next biggest need that you think would launch this to where you want it to go, what would it be?
At this stage, we are raising a seed round of funding, and to do some of the influencer marketing and strategic partnerships, those are not free avenues of marketing. So for our investors, I think it's going to be, investors are going to want to know how many downloads, right? They're going to want to know numbers, and to reach the critical mass of users, we're definitely going to need an injection of capital. So that's probably the next big thing that we've got to accomplish.
Question here.
Morning, Chandra.
Hey, how's it going?
This is Rupert. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
And I was going to ask another question, but you mentioned the C round.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been through A and B already?
No. Okay, pre-seed. It's pre-seed, seed, A,
okay.
then B, then
okay.
C.
All right. I misheard you. Okay.
Okay.
So I just downloaded the app,
Okay.
and I got a old phone. I was going to take till probably next week. Right?
Okay.
But, so what are your numbers? How many downloads have you had?
So far we've got like 65 downloads. We haven't done any marketing. Those are mostly friends and family. But we have seen downloads in the United Kingdom, in Australia, New Zealand, Germany, all across the United States. So that's very exciting that without doing any marketing, we already have a lot of international potential and a lot of international people that are using our app on our Instagram. People are like, oh, we can't wait till this is live in Australia. So we do know that we have the potential to be a global app that people use all over.
So how are you going to get noticed?
Well, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Well, like I said, with the marketing plan, right now we're doing some guerrilla marketing tactics. We're using Craigslist, which also, fun fact, Airbnb, when they first started, they were using Craigslist and going out to people who were wanting to rent their house. So we're also using Craigslist to target people on the platonic friendships only. And there's surprisingly a lot of people there who are like, hey, I'm looking for friends. We've done some of that, but really the influencer marketing, the strategic partnerships, that's really where we feel we can have the biggest impact to reach the most amount of people to get users.
And the bottom line is you're going to make money how?
Through ads. Right, through targeted ads. So again, because we have this like profile and users are telling us a lot about what they like and don't like, we feel confident that we can serve up targeted ads to people and that they'll take action on those. Oh, 2 mics. Oh, go ahead.
I yield to Jason
Oh, you
first.
go ahead.
Sure. Hi, brother. Hey, Chandra.
Hi,
I'm Boone.
I'm sorry?
Boone.
Boone, nice to meet you.
And so I want to conceptually understand. This is an app that is a mix of Tumblr, Pinterest, what's the swipey thing? Tinder, kind of all in one. It's focused on building real friendships, which, by the way, is something I think you need to emphasize.
Okay,
And it is not a dating app.
correct.
Okay. For those of us who are not millennial,
What? There's people who are not millennials?
I know, and in tech, do you have a setup in there to where this could be used for business? For instance, my business interests, my business friends are more important in the growth of me as a human than necessarily my friends' friends, if I'm growing my business. So for entrepreneurs, for people who are developing and growing, could you spin this to where you go into a zone where you have no competition, where you're building business friends? Has anybody talked with you about some pivots around this? Because this is really good. Really good.
Well, at this stage, no. We haven't really talked about pivoting or doing anything in the business sector, and I am a firm believer that I'd like to just do one thing really, really well before we try to spin off and do other things. But that's a very interesting concept that we hadn't really thought about at all.
Okay. And on the backside,
Okay.
the data that you're collecting, are you siloing that, or are you just doing a broad data pool?
We're using Parse, so we have a pretty broad data pool. Right now we'll have to transfer that over to another service eventually because Facebook just bought Parse, unfortunately. So they'll be shutting down their service in January, but we'll be transitioning and probably finding some other back-end as a service tool.
Hi, my name is Jason.
Hi, Jason.
How long has the app been up and going?
16 days.
Okay.
It's a newborn.
Yeah, and I think you need to get to 1,000 downloads easily or quickly before anything else.
Okay.
So.
Did you download it?
No, and I won't.
Oh, okay.
And I download everything, so that was my second point. So you could hustle and get 1,000 easily. You could hustle and get 10,000 easily. You could ask everybody right now to download it, print up flyers. I would print up flyers, give it to everybody at the Orlando Tech Association or Meetup. And I think UCF, just walk around until they kick you off campus, walk around Rollins until they kick you off campus, just get a ton of downloads, right? I won't because I download everything and it's just getting annoying. However, my second point is I think where you could really get some penetration and other traction. So when you go to investors and say, look, we have 5,000 downloads, but we also have 10,000 people on our email list. And because I would sign up for the newsletter, for the list, to get suggested things. Like Phil, I'd answer 5 questions or 10 questions based on my interest. It's almost the same thing to the app.
Okay.
Right? And then get a curated email newsletter. And I think that would help your brand greatly with people who won't download it.
Right.
But then also just 3 tier social media stuff, email newsletter, and then the app.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your suggestion.
Very good.
Hi, Kristen again.
Oh, hey.
Another barrier to download, perhaps I just downloaded it and it only gave me the option to log in with Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm weird about that. I would rather enter my email and my name.
Right.
So an option to log in another way.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
How long did it take from start to finish?
From concept
Make the app.
to prototype, which is what you'll see in the App Store, about 6 months. But that was, again, with some having developers, and we had a designer who quit, so it's like start and stop, but about 6 months.
What's his name, Adam?
Adam,
From
yeah.
when he started literally creating the app, how long?
Adam came on when we already had some foundation laid, so some of the other developers laid the foundation. I would say about a month, maybe.
Wow.
It's a pretty simple interface. We're not going to the moon yet, but yeah.
Thank you.
Have a question?
Hi.
Hello, I'm John. Can you tell me or give me a little brief sketch of how these things work in the real world? I know you've got a plan and you're going to raise money. Is there some group has gone before you, not necessarily the same idea, but some similar idea, and how do they eventually achieve success, and how likely is it, and what does that amount to?
Well, the most kind of obvious example I could give you is Tinder. Tinder is that first competitor that I've listed. They have 50 million users worldwide, and they're actually a subsidiary of the Match Group. But the way that Tinder acquired this critical mass of users was by hosting parties at USC. They were like exclusive parties, and for people to get into these frat parties, you had to download the app. So that's how they started to generate. And then of course all the guys were like, oh, there's these hot girls on this app called Tinder, like we want to date them and like see who's on there. And so then it became this whole process. With Friendish, it's a little bit different. We were thinking of some ways to cheaply acquire this critical mass of users, but to go the frat party route wouldn't really work for us because, these are institutions that are built on already being connected and having this established relationship. So for us, we have to find another avenue to reach people who are looking for friends. And so we were thinking community colleges are a lot more interesting. They don't really have the social infrastructure that a lot of the big colleges and universities do. You probably won't find too many sororities or fraternities on community college campuses. So that was a really interesting avenue for us. But there's still a lot of discovery. We're still learning what's going to work best and trying to ultimately connect people. Oh, question here. Hi.
Hi, good morning. Great job.
Thank you.
Wish you the best. One question is, would you have any features either now or in the future that would enable the deaf to be able to communicate via video messaging?
To enable who to communicate?
The deaf and hard of hearing
Oh.
with American Sign Language through videos?
That's very interesting. I know video chat is really big right now, and it's a very tedious task in terms of development to implement into the app, but that's a really great idea, and I hadn't even thought of it, so thank you for that.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
I have a mobile app as well, and my audience is a little bit different. It's on childcare and families and stuff like that, and one of the biggest things for us is safety. So is there any way, I know you can log in through Facebook, which is great because you can see mutual friends and stuff, to make it a little bit safer. When you look at their profile, what do you see?
When you look at another user's profile, you see their pictures. The app will pull 3 pictures from their Facebook profile, and then you just see a one-liner. It's like 140 characters or less. And then at the bottom, you can see any mutual friends. But we, of course, have a block and report mechanism, so users, if they feel threatened or somebody's added some sort of content that's abusive, that they can report that user, and then they're ejected from the app. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Not what I was going to talk about, but I have a 200 million person database that might help you. The thing that might be of interest, when you used the word users the first time in the presentation, the thing that popped in my head was users, abusers, and losers. And do you have a way of being able to quantify and put people into those categories? And you don't want to do that publicly, of course, but on the backside, then would there be a way for a loser to boost his page or her page, like a Facebook boost, to come out of the doghouse, so to speak, as another revenue stream?
I don't know. I don't really like categorizing as anybody as like a, I mean, we obviously would call it that, but in terms of money-making schemes, maybe this is a good idea to let people sponsor their profile. But again, users are swiping on interests, and eventually we'll get to the point where we have to weight the interests, because my politics and religion probably matter a lot more than my favorite food kind of thing. But right now, every interest weighs one. So, that's an interesting concept, but again, the interests are all relatively, that's what users are swiping on as opposed to other people's faces, so.
The thing that I wanted to say to you is that when you're raising capital, it's not about the plan, it's about the team.
Right.
With 3, you're free. With 5, you thrive. And with 7, you're either in heaven or you form a committee. 5 people with their areas of genius in 5 different realms. Now you get the money.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, this will be our last question, actually, because we'll need to move on to the next.
Just one other comment. I know you're focused on millennials. Another place I find, I work in finance and with retirees, and a lot of people, once they're retired, they're not in their building with all of their normal network, and if their spouse has died, they're lonely. So that is another huge demographic. They all have smartphones at this point. They can all swipe up or down. So finding critical mass within that demographic, I think, would also be powerful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so in the spirit of 1 Million Cups, we always ask this as the last question. What can we as a community do to help you at this very moment?
Well, I actually have one more slide. If you go forward. Another one. 2 more. So, download the app, first and foremost. You guys have already given me so much great information and feedback, so I really appreciate that. Again, acquiring the critical mass is really, really important at this stage. Like you said, we've been live 16 days. We need to get those users to 1,000 to 5,000. So download the app. Tell us what you think on social media, if you hate it, if you love it. Tell your friends and family. We are raising this seed of $500,000 because we'd like to bring on some key first hires and a front-end developer, an Android developer we needed yesterday, actually. So we're missing out on a whole side of the market because we only have an iOS product. And we'd also like to hire a designer because for our target demographic in 2016, design is almost as important as functionality, so that's really huge. And then to do some of those marketing ideas that we had, those are not free avenues of marketing. Influencer marketing, strategic partnerships cost a lot of money, so that's what we're raising. And then we'd like to work together in some sort of co-working space so we can see each other every day and collaborate. So download the app, tell everyone you know, and that's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.